So before we get started, I just want to say welcome, Ali. Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of One on One. And for a lot of you who don't know, Ali has actually been one of my first friends in the industry. And I've known him for 5 years now. And so I feel like he was the ideal person for the first conversation. And I'm looking forward to this. Ali, any first thoughts before we get started?
Well, Maitri is more than just a work colleague or like a work person. She's an amazing human, um, an aspiring filmmaker herself, and she's obviously the right hand person to my boss, Deepa Mehta. So that was originally like the first step in knowing that okay, she has to be cool. She's like Deepa's assistant, Deepa's right hand person. Deepa goes to her for everything.
No one's cooler than Deepa.
I was like, Deepa goes to her for everything. She asks her for everything. She's like, Maitli, this is okay. I'm like, dude, okay. So definitely street cred. She has to be really cool. For sure. That's like a stamp. But besides that, when I got to know Maitli and after having spent a lot of time with her, you know, I have to say, like, you're one of a kind. So thank you for having me on the first episode of your show. I'm excited.
Yes, of course. Okay, so I think we should get like right into it. Since it's Father's Day, I thought it might be a good idea to start with like family. And you've come from a family full of artists and very like popular, famous artists. And I want to know what was it like growing up with that?
Well, I know there's a lot of like anti-nepotism stuff these days, which is fair. I think that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be the criteria for. Trust me, I swear, I'm not a pachi. This is not a pachi kehte hain. In Pakistan, you call it a pachi. If someone pushes you into a position of power or like gets you like a job, to kehte hain, oh, pachi pe hai. But I'm not a pachi, I promise you. Even my parents are very art-oriented people, and they're really not. Were never. When I was born, they were around their peak. Like they were just superstars of the country. But at home, I think that's the beauty of it is that at home, they were just lovely people. They just really like down to earth artists, and they never thought about. I think the thing that there was always a very apparent thing in our house, and what they always taught us was money will come and go. That's never the goal. Art is the goal. Whatever you do, give it your best. Give it your best shot so you have no regret that you didn't try. And skip anything else will be a bonus, a byproduct of whatever you worked hard for. Art is the goal. Do the magic and just let it go out into the ether. The rest will happen if it happens. If you get fame, if you get money, that's all, relative. So at home, it was very normal. It was very we had, what the great part about it was, that growing up in an environment which was, even in 80s Pakistan, where, roles are very established, that a father is a father and a mother is a mother, and it wasn't like that, which is really cool. Like we had a very unorthodox household, even for the 80s in Pakistan. They were both artists, so they're both working. My mom didn't cook, my dad cooked. So I know these things sound really trivial right now, but they're actually not. They're actually what shape you a lot as to what, as a kid, whatever you're taking in by osmosis is what you don't even realize, but that sort of manifests itself into your personality as you grow, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny as you grow, get to your late 20s, 30s, and when you have kids of your own as well, you realize all these things. That, oh my God, how come? Like I'm very relaxed with these things is because you've seen that thing growing up. Like for me, being a hands-on dad or doing stuff around the house and cooking and things and taking care of it was a normal thing. It's not. It's a normal person thing to do. It's not. Yeah. It's not like a thing. Oh, I'm a special dad that I'm doing this kind of thing. So that's what the magic was. That at home, you know, they were just two people that were trying to teach you the best of their ability. And they didn't force me to become an actor. They didn't force me to, you must, this is the legacy. You must be the superstar, the next, you know, Bachchan or the next, the Kazmi, I know, nothing. Actually, there's no scene like that at all. In far from it. In fact, in fact, I at one point got so frustrated because I was like, when I got into I started in the industry really young, and Dino, how you doing, buddy? Dino is one of my childhood buddies and a superb host, actor, and singer himself. I'm a huge fan of his voice. He's like the Desi JT, who I call Justin Timberlake. Hey Dino, what up, buddy? Okay, so getting back to the thing, I think the thing I loved was the fact that they never pushed me into it. I got into it at a very young age, uh, also by default because at that time there are very few. I mean, obviously, if you were in the industry, my parents were actors and directors. My mom had sort of left acting by then in the 80s and become a director almost full time. And whenever she needed a kid, when I was 1.5, 2 years old, it's like, okay, just put Ali in there, you won't remember. And that's how it happened. And I've just been in it. And then since I was about 7, 8 years old, I was in Dhoop Kinare, which is a really famous Pakistani TV series, which got national acclaim and everything. It's kind of like the original ER of Pakistan, let's say, right? So I played my father's flashback in that. I was 7, 8 years old, and since then I kind of remember that when I was on set and I saw the magic happen before me, and I cognizantly remember it. That stuck with me, and I since then, if anybody would ever ask me what you want to be, kids at that age used to say astronauts or doctor or cowboy. I don't know, wrestler. I think I think one of my friends actually used to say, "Okay, I want to be Akshay Kumar" when I grew up. Things like that. For me, it was truly, I want to be an actor. I want to be an artist. I want to do this for the rest of my life till they have to wheel me away on a wheelchair. कि नहीं आप और act नहीं कर सकते जाएं घर जाएं. That's what I want. Um, and yeah, and I feel that the parents really made that possible. Oh, because starting from a young age, I never, to date, in fact, I got really frustrated when I was a teenager. I got really frustrated. I had gotten stuff of my own accord. I was, I want to take a different route. Sometimes it just happens. Like, it's not that they ever, but they cast such a big shadow that you yourself, if you are in the field, you want to kind of develop your own persona, and kind of get out of that shadow somehow. And I feel that even as a teenager, I'd started working professionally by then, in my 20s as well, when I had done quite a bit of stuff. I'd done a lot of modeling, a lot of commercials, lots and lots of TV series, drama serials, and telefilms. We didn't have films in Pakistan at that time because it was dead because of the ruthless dictator that came and ruined our film industry. But I remember that really made me feel like there was a point in my late teens, early 20s when all the aunties would come and say, okay, wow, we're such big fans of your parents. Uh, you're an actor as well. What else do you do? I'm like, yeah, what do you mean? What else do you do? I'm like, if it's good enough for my parents to be, why can't I just be an actor? I'm contemporary. I have to do something else. Like, why can't I also just be an actor and a director and a creative person? Um, and they were so anti-nepotism themselves, that, beta, we don't want you to be in your 40s and you to be like hearing from people that, uh, oh, he got in because of his parents, right? And that's something that really stuck with me always. That's something I never wanted. And there was a point in my 20s that I got so frustrated. I was like, can you guys at least just make one call to this director, man. Like, can you like just tell him that I really want to work with him, you know? And it never happened, which is lovely. Like in hindsight, that is the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful gift as an artist that that anyone can give you is to make your own way and forge your own path. And I think that's the coolest thing that they ever taught me was. And as we go further into this chat, uh, as you know, and as most people will hopefully know, is that that is what I did the hard way. The hard
I
way
mean, I feel
is the
like
way to
your
go.
journey has like truly been interesting in the sense of you established yourself for so many years in
Hi,
Pakistan,
Amal. How you doing?
and
Sorry.
and then um, and then decided to up and leave and come here to Toronto and Canada um, for a love story. So like how hard was that, to like was it a tough choice? Like I'm sure that, you know, choosing between the personal and professional, which is something that a lot of people have to face at some time or the other, like their priorities. Um, what helped you get there?
um, I'm pretty straightforward that way. I feel uh, that if you really feel strongly for something, could be anything, could be personal, could be hi, hi, thanks, man. No matter what you do, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, at some point, at major turning points in your life, you must follow your heart. Like you have to follow your instinct and your heart. Uh, it can be a practical decision as well, but just practical will not help you, especially in the arts. I don't think so. I mean, I think if you feel that something is getting done and you need to move forward, you need to move forward. Like follow that instinct. Don't just stick with it. If you notice a lot of great actors sometimes leave at their peak. Like Daniel Day-Lewis, he's retired now. Like he says, I'm done. I think that's beautiful. Like as much as I would love to see him on screen as well, he's one of my favorites. But I think that's a beautiful thing. उसने कहा यार मैंने I don't think I have anything else to give right now. You know, so it's a similar thing of where my father as well retired. At his people still ask, "Oh, is he ever going to come back?" But I don't think he will. I think he's like, I was done. Now I want to teach. I want to give back. I want to do something different. So in a similar fashion, I think those have been my heroes. My mom as well left directing at a peak when she wanted to. I think that's what I've always followed. That at the end of the day, no matter how amazing you are, whatever skill you have, you must follow your heart. So I think that's been a big guiding force in my life. And by the time I was 25, I'd done quite a bit in Pakistan. I was a well-known actor. I was one of the few young people that were actually doing it professionally.
Mm-hmm.
And my colleagues from then are still friends of mine now and are big superstars of Pakistan. God bless them, all of them. And there was very few of us actually that are still sort of working hard and have had acclaim from that time to now. And but it was tough then because there was not that much money back then. We were doing it purely for the art and the fact that we've been pushing for it for a decade to get to that point. Like we've been all going from our teen years to get to a point in our mid 20s where we could say, okay, now we're like the young generation that is, trying to change the face of television, bring in contemporary content, you know. Um, and at that point, I felt I was at a crossroads where, uh, you get to your mid 20s and you think that, okay, what else am I going to do with my life? What's going to happen now? Like, is it? Uh, I was in love with my high school sweetheart, uh, who happens to be my wife now. Uh, and yeah, it was something. She was in Canada and she was in McGill and she was studying, and then she had graduated and she was working in Toronto, and we were doing long distance. But it wasn't just that. That was a huge driving force for me, obviously. But even besides that, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the film was there was no film in Pakistan at that time, and that was really sad because I love television, I love theater, but at a certain point as an actor, you want to do film. like film is global. I feel film is something you know that everybody at the end of the day, that's something you're gonna leave behind. Everybody's gonna watch that. So I was waiting for that, and that's it. Like and there were no film schools, like proper film schools. There was no like there was no place where you could say that okay, I will become a Pakistani film star right now. There was no avenue at all, and that was making me really sad. And I'm a huge cinephile, you know that. I love movies from all languages, all genres. I love them for what they are, for what they put out there, and how they entertain people. So that's it. I was like, okay. I think what we need to do is get out of the comfort zone, start from scratch if you have to, but let's do it and let's have an adventure. And I moved to Toronto and literally came here with two suitcases and nothing else. And
Wow.
I was married
Admirable.
and literally starting from scratch.
Yeah.
But I had a couple of things in my head, which were I was like, I'm hungry, I can do this, and I knew that I had experience, which I was pretty proud of and happy with, and I think even if that doesn't count right now, it will in the long run because uh, I'm a marathon runner, and this is not just about a short game; it's about the long game. So I was like, put a self exile on yourself, and I did for about 6 years. I said I will only work here and in the States to establish myself. I will not work back in Pakistan because that's a safety net. If and you have to burn the boats, you have to get out of the comfort zone, and that's what I wanted. That thing was in my head that I don't want to be 40. I don't want people to say, "Oh, parents ki wajah se aaya hoga." Like you definitely come because of his parents. Like what else, man? That's something I didn't want, and here we are.
I mean, but see, starting over is like a huge deal, especially, I mean, it's so relevant right now. We've been in a period where we haven't
Yeah.
gone out to shoots and work and doing all this. And a lot of people who are starting out now, like who've graduated, who want to get into the film industry,
Mm,
there's so much uncertainty. And I feel like that would
yeah.
have been the beginning of your journey, starting out here from scratch with a lot of, I don't know how to find my footing, but how, and you constantly said that there's no specific secret to success that you feel like you've had or you feel like there is. But how did you find that positive motivation to find your footing in the industry all over again?
That's a heavy question. Uh,
I never said this would be easy.
uh, Mainly, like you know, you've been doing this, and you're an aspiring director. You know that there's no at any phase, whether it's pandemic, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, no pandemic. Uh, you know, this is going to be a tough job, even if you're the last actor left on earth or the last creative person left on earth. It is sincerely. Um, when people ask me sometimes that, oh, are you excited that you think your kids are going to be? I was like, nahi bhai. Like I'm not gonna actively tell them, "Okay, beta, you must. This is the this is the best." Like भूखे मरोगे थोड़े टाइम तो क्या तो क्या होगा? But no, really, it's one of those things which is the reason why it is so loved by people of every other profession as well. Like there's a joke between my wife and myself, and amongst my friends as well. Um, Amongst my old school friends, I'm one of the few guys that is in the field. And with old friends and stuff, and with your family and stuff, no matter what you do, you're still gonna just be you, right? That's the best part. It's like, oh, big deal, Kazmi. So you had an interview with Deepa Mehta in the DGC. Yeah, big deal. Whatever, man. You know, well, you're a big shot now, whatever. When you have an Oscar, we'll talk. Like that's just how old friends and stuff treat you. And the joke is that um, when you're with talking to your old friends and family and stuff, it keeps you humble and it keeps you going. And the fact that, even now, even that you've had a certain amount of success or whatever, um, they will still say that, like, man, like, when we're all around, eventually my wife will be like, why does it always end up being a discussion about your movies and movies? And I was like, and I was like, imagine our friends are in business or law or doctors or whatever it is. But a lot of times, if you're an actor in the group, a lot of conversation will revolve around the media and like performance and films and oh, so what are you doing now? You know, and when I'll ask them, they'll be like, ah, it's whatever, yeah, same stuff, you know, same shit, different day type thing. And that's not the case. Every profession is important. Everybody has to do their thing. It's a whole. The world is like a ecosystem, a tapestry where everybody has to do their thing. Otherwise, the picture is not going to be complete. Um, I respect. I genuinely do. Like my wife is in finance. You know, she's an accountant. I call her my munshi. You know, but I think it's unfair to say people in the arts don't respect other professions. That's also a thing we'll come to later. But I mean, like, yeah, I think that you must because everybody has to do what they have to do. But at the end of the day, I think the arts are what they are because you know it is tough. It is a struggle. You are at the end of the day, you are as good as your talent, and then either you're born with that talent and that's sort of or you're not, and then you can polish that. But if you're not born with that talent, you have nothing to polish. You don't have anything to that you can nurture and make better. Like you have to be. I feel this more so now than ever is that you have to be born with a certain je ne sais quoi, a certain factor that is within you that is waiting to be nurtured, a certain talent that is waiting to be put out there and polished, and a certain, uh, for lack of a better word, a certain thing of wanting to entertain, wanting to, you know, um, give the people something. Is this? I've always felt that way. Yeah, I want to entertain. I want to put it out there. I want to, um, you know, be a part of people's lives and maybe make their life a little bit better for that 1 hour and a half that they're watching a film. Like that's what I want. And I think that's always been a driving factor. I've always been a very positive person. My parents are positive people. But I think coming here, I think the biggest thing was that, I don't ever want to go even back to Pakistan with the tail between my legs and saying, okay, oh, वापस आ गया, कुछ नहीं हुआ. Like, nothing happened. You couldn't do it there. That was a big driving force for me. Also, I knew that I'm born to do this. You must believe in your own ability. You must believe. As an actor, I think hope is, or as any creative person for that matter, whether you're a painter, you're a filmmaker, you're an actor, hope is such a big thing. Every time we go into a project, or every time you're even auditioning for something, every time you're even in school learning to be a filmmaker or an actor, it's such a every day is a new day. Every day is a learning curve. Every day is, um, and my father always told me that the day you stop learning, the day you stop questioning, that day you're dead. That's done. So you never too big a star. You never be like, oh, I'm good. I got this. Um, Never. So I think that's always been the force that what I'm gonna do it. All right, let's go. What's next? Let's go. What's next? Let's take this on. But yeah, I mean, I think you have to be very, very hungry and very passionate to remain an artist. I think an artist whose belly is full is probably the toughest kind of artist because it's like, all right, this is good. Getting a little complacent, but like, what else? What else is there? So that I think that's such a big factor for me is to always remain motivated and be like, no, man, what's next? Let's go.
I mean, you're talking about being hungry and being passionate about it, but there are a lot of points you and I both know as creatives
Mm.
where um, it's about fulfilling creative choices versus the desperate choices of just getting work. And like I don't know, like how do you navigate that? Like at a point, especially when you were starting out here and trying to find your footing and establish who you were, especially because you ditched your safety net for 6 years and you decided that I'm not going to go do that, I'm going to find my way here. How do you make either fulfilling creative choices or stuff that doesn't clash with your belief system, versus just
Man,
your desperation to find a job?
uh, I think at that time you have to put your ego at the door, and you have to sort of know that okay, I'm going to make some dicey choices right now. You know, I will justify this to myself later. No, I think the truth is that it's a fine line you have to walk at that time. I was doing three odd jobs, like I was working at Hollister, which I felt pretty cool about because apparently when I moved here, apparently they only hire good-looking people. So I was like, oh, Hollister, yeah. And I was there was this one company which really like pushed me to the edge, which was out, and yeah, I did that for like almost a month, and they fool young actors into believing that they were doing these infomercials and blah blah, and we need real actors to do this thing, and oh god, it's this company that's a big scam, and they say we'll pay you for training and blah blah, and you come in and then you have to go. Eventually, you have to go to basically to do all these go to all these malls, and you take these boards and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a spiel that you've learned, you memorized. Uh, Hi, Amana Siddiqui, how are you? And you take all these boards and whatever, and you go and you have to give a spiel, and people come to you, and you have a product of the week, whatever, like a sticky lint roller or whatever it is, Mr. Sticky, and you have to like sell that, and you get commission off that thing. And I was like, you're making fools of actors, man. You're like ruining an artist's life by saying that this is the best that you're going to do. Like, because even the managers were like, oh, um, we're really like, really actors are working in the industry as well. And like, this is going to be good for you and all that kind of stuff. And you do that. I remember um, I went to Mississauga, to Square One Mall, good old brown town. And I remember giving a spiel there. And usually now you have like the other guys, like there's all other races and like diverse talent, and all young actors, that were doing commercial type thing, whatever. And and then you give this spiel, and maximum you get 30 people to come, or maybe 40 people. In Miss in Square One, about 150 people showed up to that booth after my announcement, and they were like, "Hey, boy, is he? What's he doing here? Why is he in Canada?" And I had just moved here, and I was in film school and doing these three odd jobs and juggling stuff, and I was in a studio. मैं studio में सफाई करता था, पोछे मारता था. Used to get coffee for people and print scripts for people, and uh, that was the most fulfilling job, by the way, out of all these other jobs. I was like, at least I'm in the studio, you know, and now I've got to work in that same studio, and like I told myself one day, I was like, I will work in this. I will work in you, in you studio. I will work in you, and I do, which is great. But I remember, yeah, and all those people came up, and they were all like, oh, after the thing was done, and I sold Mr. Sticky to a lot of those people, which was really highly embarrassing. And but that means you get a job, you gotta get through it, no problem. Ego is out the window, no problem. And then a lot of them came up to me and were like, Ali bhai, ye what are you gonna do here? Yeah, please, like, here, take my mamu's card. He's taxi chalate hain. Aap bhi taxi chalaye? What are you gonna do? Like, drive a taxi? What's gonna, what are you gonna do? I was like, I'm in film school. You'll see. You'll see me on the screen here. He's like,
Mhm.
sure. you know. Then people came up with like, oh, my brother's in real estate. Ye kar le. And I'm like, no, abhi nahi. Real estate is good, it's great, but let me get my film school but done with. And that's it. I think at the end of the day, that was such a huge driving force for me that I was like, no way. I went back, I threw the boards on those managers' faces, and I was like, listen, you know, I mean, it probably, I'm making it sound way cooler than it was. I sat on the train back and I was crying, to myself. I was like, what has happened to you, Kazmi? What are you doing? You were, you were a somebody, you were a contender, and here you are, like, you know, crying on the PDC after like a sham of a job. And I did. I went and threw the boards in the people's faces. I said, look, do not make fools of actors again. This is not like I'd rather do any other job. But because you said you want real actors, that is a sham. Don't do that. Don't play with the artist's feelings. That is not fair. And I walked out of there feeling pretty good about myself. And I auditioned for everything under the sun. I promise you. Like in those early days, um, to answer your question after like coming around, sorry, like it just took me
Which is
back.
as per usual. Yeah.
For usual, but it took me back in this really vulnerable place. The truth is, it's a very vulnerable time for an artist when you've just graduated, or even when you're in the midst of it and thinking about what am I going to do in the practical world. It's okay. I'm going to put it out there to say it's okay to be okay at that time. It's all right. You don't have to be this amazing shabam right out the thing and like getting the best gig right after. You know what I mean? Um, I think you need to have your integrity, be strong, but also know that you need to take certain steps to get to that point. And when you can make those calls, you know, um, initially, I think you need to increase your experience. It's okay. Like, go ahead. I applied for every job, every production job. I applied for everything under the sun, all auditions, all everything. Um, and I did a lot of like terrible independent movies, like terrible short films. But out of those, I would say really good, really good ones came out of that. Which I'm proud to be a part of, right? And if you don't take those leaps, and you have leeway to take those leaps at that time, because also people, also to put it out there from another perspective, people are not going to judge you as well, because they'll be like, you know what, he's young, he's a struggling artist, it's okay, and that's okay to develop yourself and take those leaps, be creatively sort of diverse. It's all right, because you are experimenting, you are um, starting out anew. It's all right. And that's what I did. I was totally out there and I did all of that kind of stuff. And after that, I feel that kind of did empower me because, an artist needs to be creating. And when I wasn't, it was killing me because I've been doing this since I was a kid. And when I wasn't doing it, it was just driving. So I was like, theek hai, it may be not the best job or the best short film, what I'm going to do right now. But you know what? It's a gig. I'm creating. I'm being part of something, and from this, something will come. And I remember the thing that changed my life here was this theater play that I got by complete fluke. It was I was coming out of this studio and after doing this terrible short film, you know, and I was like, thank God it's never seen the light of day. And I was like leaving, and I was like, man, I need something more. And you get that fork in the road. I could have gone home then and been very content with myself. Okay, I got paid to do a little terrible little movie. But, but I saw this sign for an Indian watched The Bronx, which is this theater play that I knew, which is Al Pacino's first theater play before it became Al Pacino. And I had no agent then. I had just got out of film school, and I just went up, and I knew that they needed it's three people. They needed like an older Indian gentleman. They need and like two thugs from you know the Bronx, and it's set in the '60s, so I couldn't play one of the thugs. So I was like, I know that they're gonna definitely need like a South Asian guy for that role, you know, and I know that role. So I went up, and there were like these 50-year-old guys sitting there, and I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna be. What am I gonna do? And I waited and waited for everybody to go, and finally I went in at the end, and they're like, all right, this young kid with a with a with a mohawk and like torn jeans and a Superman t-shirt walks in, and like they're like, all right, what are you gonna do? And I remember getting a standing ovation at that audition, and they're like, what? Who are you, man? Where have you come from? We've never seen you in Canada before. There's like a pool of like five brown actors. Who the hell are you, man? And I was like, I'm not from here. I come in peace. You know, um, I am from another planet where I was a star. But yeah, and I felt really gratified at that point. But they said that we're sorry, but we need to go with someone older. But thank you for auditioning. And I was like, thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for letting me come in and do this and trusting me that I had no agent or whatever. I could have been a crazy guy that came in. I am a crazy guy. But thank you for just letting me come in to audition. And a week later, they messaged me, they emailed me, and said, we looked through the tapes and you were the best that we had. We'll age you up or whatever, but let's do it. And I ended up doing it with those guys. And um, it's Alex Kirstich and Steven Chambers. This big shout out to these two guys who are still my creative buddies. We're hopefully going to be writing something together. And they've always been a big support for me. And they gave me my first sort of real thing where we ended up directing it together, putting it up together, and we really got along, and we still do. It's just brilliant. Like it's amazing when you have that vibe with a fellow artist. And we created this show, and we did it in the back alley of Honest Ed's. Honest Ed's, for all those that you don't know, is like it's by, it was this thing. It was a store started by Ed Mervish, which is like one of the beginning of theater here in Toronto. And that store was a really famous store, which had all these novelty items and all these crazy things inside as well. And on the back alley of Honest Ed's, and Honest Ed's is no more now, sadly.
Mm.
This is like about 8.5 years ago we did this. And we created it like it's an incident, where it's this between this, uh, this older uh, South Asian guy, this Indian guy that comes from a village, and all he has is his phone number of his son, and he's in a phone booth trying to call him, and he comes out and he's sad, he sits on a bench, and there's these two sort of these hoodlums, these thugs from the Bronx that kind of just try to come and just mess with him because he doesn't look like them. And it's so apt now that I think back, it's so apt to what's happening and what still happens today, that people are afraid of what they can't describe or what you don't look like them. So uh, who are you? What are you? And just goes from teasing and them coming out with their own issues, and it ends up into being really violent, gritty, and it was three people, and we ended up like getting 5 stars in iWeek magazine and 4 stars in Now magazine, and I got special mention, whatever it was. Okay, who's this guy and who was he? And and at the end of that play, I remember producers and people come to watch, and that's where I got my agent. Who's still my agent today, and yeah, that play did change my life, and that was pure spur of the moment decision, um, pure hunger. I could have gone the other way. I could have gone home and possibly would have been still happy and still been like, I will do this somehow. And but yeah, that decision change a lot of my career path here.
I mean, I think what you've just said, I feel, especially right now where people are starting out not knowing where to go next, I think what you said is so important that it's important to keep creating. It's important to
Yeah.
not constantly feel that everything that you do has to be like this award winning, amazing thing, but just to take chances and, move
And you know,
forward.
I think I think that we can talk about boss here for a second as well. Is that Deepa is such a great mentor in both our lives for that reason as well. Is that today she's so much older than us, but she has a heart of a creative child who
Yeah.
still wants to experiment and still wants to do it for the love of it and still doesn't ever, Abibi, like I'm always like, boss, okay, what are we gonna do with this film? Oh, it's gonna be huge. Have you thought about how amazing this is gonna be, boss? Like, are we gonna? Oh my God, I'm gonna be at the Oscars, and she's like, I don't know. We don't know. Stop jumping the gun. Like so, like that, and you learn so much from that, and I've learned that from my parents as well. Is that you just have to make the art, take the leap, and just put it out there. But the rest, what will happen is happen. What will happen will happen. You cannot stop it. You cannot change it. You can try to do your best to market it. Try to do your best to put your most honest work out there. But at the end of the day, it is an experiment. It is a trial and error. It is something that's not necessarily going to yield you whatever, but you have to put it out there. So that's where it comes from. That either way you're. That's why I gave the example of Deepa or my parents or any great
Yeah.
artists out there. Is that no matter whether you're starting out or no matter what you were at the pinnacle of your career,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a true artist, it's always going to still be an experiment.
Yeah.
So don't shy away from that, man. I think that's the beauty of it. That you said it very very well. Is that I think at any stage, I was giving an example of whether it's uh, you know it's artists like my parents that I've learned from, or the great artists I've grown up in, uh, in my country, and then seeing really established creators here, and then of course meeting Deepa was such a huge game changer for me, and such a big part of my life, and she's such a huge mentor for me. I've always looked up to her, and now and seeing her point of view on things is also so fresh to me is, and that made me think. I was like, you know what? Whether you're starting out or whether you're at the pinnacle of something and you've already done so much great work, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can't always worry about what people going to log kya kahenge is a big deterrent for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't worry about that. I think the best work that we all enjoyed, or even that we have, you know, um, put out there ourselves, is with pure heart and just believing that what I've put it out there. It's as honest and it's an experiment and whatever it is. And at this point in my life, this is something. कभी कभार ऐसा भी होता है. Look, as an artist, you are not going to be able to get uh, unless you can call your own shots. I hope for all the artists out there that one day that you can call your own shots and you are the boss of your, inshallah, that you are the boss of your own uh, universe, and like an Amr Khan, or like many greats out there that can just, like a Daniel Day or like a Leo, or like
Mm-hmm.
anybody out there that can just be like, all right, I'm going to do this movie because I want to do this movie, and that's that. But that may take some time. So please, if you're starting out and if you're experimenting and trying new things, don't be afraid, man. You have to just put it out there and relax and trust the universe and trust in your ability and be real, because that's the best you can do. And kabhi kabhar, sometimes to even feed your stomach, or like maybe like you just have to do that project at that time. Sometimes that's also the case, and especially when you're starting out. So there's nothing wrong in that. It's okay. I know a lot of people are like, man, like I would rather die than do that and stuff like that. I'm like, no, man. Like at least you're still creating. At the end of the day, like it's not gonna that's not gonna change who you are, and that's not gonna change your eventuality. Like I think um, some of the crappy short films I've done, I don't think they have affected my eventuality.
Hmm.
You know.
But in terms of like the play, even the play that you were just speaking about that kind of like launched you into your career over here,
Mm.
um, the subject in which was so relevant. You were talking about a South Asian
Yeah.
girl, and
Ironically.
um, as somebody who started out here as a South Asian male in the industry, especially in such a country which is known for diversity, and our industry is a much younger art industry. And how is that, like, like finding the right roles, finding the right people, like as a South Asian, like what was it like, and what do you think still needs to change?
It's still tough. It's still tough. That's the crazy part. That no matter how many established creative professionals you ask here, you know, and again up to the level of Deepa, you know, she will tell you the same thing. Is that it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad that it's taken this long. The problem is that I think there's certain stereotypes get established and certain like things get pushed at you, which all of us are party to. We all kind of envelop it, we all kind of inhale it, and we don't realize कि यार ये हम क्या कर रहे हैं ये हमने क्यों क्यों सोच लिया कि हमारा एक्शन सेक्सी नहीं हो सकता क्यों सोच लिया हमने क्यों सोच लिया कि देसी लोग गोरी फिल्मों में सेक्सी नहीं हो सकते it's all these stereotypes that have been taught to us all our life, and we have also imbibed it. You know, we also did. कि यार क्या मैं सलवार कमीज पहन के टेररिस्ट लगूंगा
Mm-hmm.
या अगर and the sad part is it's happened to I'm going to speak for all the other races as well. It took the you know the African Americans so long to actually break in and be, and now there's such diverse and a group that is considered sexy and hot and interesting and in movies. What I mean, like to be
Mm-hmm.
by what I mean, just to kind of let you know, I'm not being trivial. I mean by sexy, I mean in Hollywood terms or in like the big terms, meaning ke lead material. You know what I'm saying? Not just
Yeah,
token black guy or token brown guy or token Asian guy.
like
Like
characters to fill a quota.
to actually, yeah, but actually characters that matter, characters that are leads, characters that have consequences
Mm-hmm.
and have worth. And I feel that happened to African Americans first. Then it happened to the whole Asian. And considering there were a lot of Asians here, there were a lot of African Americans. That's sad. And then slowly, when the diaspora started to build up with South Asians, it happened to us. Where there's so many amazing creative professionals, you know, and and sexy people that are literally like should be leads, but um, and just the accent is not the issue. We can do Canadian accents and a million they're actors, man. Like the really good actors, you can do all kinds of accents, you know. But I think the issue was okay, that acceptance for being, and that still is an issue. I know that we were having this conversation with we have like a brown actors group. uh, but it's funny, like I mean, we can say that you can't, but but it's just that we had this conversation, and it's so true. It's happened to all of us. A lot of us that have beards, right? Now beards are in the world over, right? It's a style choice. It's been around now for a couple of years, and I can shave it if I want to, and not shave if I want to. It's not a religious thing even. Like it's just what I like. I like my beard. But we've gone to audition rooms where they'd be like, "Could you like yeah, could you like shave that? I think that'll just make it easier." So white guy came in with the same beard, the same length of beard, you know, you'd be like, oh, sexy, rugged guy, man. You know, like a sexy, like rugged white guy. You know, why, why not us? You know what I mean? Like this is ridiculous. So that thing, I mean, still exists to a big part, and I think it's tough because initially I had to do the stereotype roles. You know, unfortunately. Hey, Shan, what up, man? Uh, welcome home. Yeah. Um, I had to do those stereotype roles, you know, and unfortunately, if you're in an industry where you are a person of color and an artist that does not have that initial cloud to be like, no, I'm not going to do it. Sometimes you have to if it's a big production and you're getting paid big money and you're like getting your first big gigs, first few big gigs. You got to, unfortunately, you're like, yeah, if I don't do this, then it's the chicken and the egg because you need Canadian experience and American experience to become better and better and get more uh, sort of credits and all these things. But at the end of the day, if you don't do it or if you don't have it, then you're not going to be further. Like I know the initial people will be like, okay, great, so you have experience from another country, but do you have Canadian experience?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how can I get Canadian experience if you don't give me Canadian experience? Like if you're not going to hire me,
It's a vicious
how's that
circle.
going to happen? It's a vicious circle. So it still exists. It's very predominant. It
Mm-hmm.
exists in all industries. But unfortunately, if you're a person of color in a predominantly white industry, um, and don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm not a anti, you know, or like a reverse racist. I'm not like a
Yeah. Yeah.
anti white person. Like I've met some amazing people in Canada and in the States and stuff, and some people that truly want to push
Mm-hmm.
people of color into a good position and into a good position of creating art. ये भी है. I have a lot of amazing mentors, that have done that for me and for a lot of people,
I mean,
and a
we
lot of
spoke
casting
about
directors.
one, our producer David Hamilton.
Exactly,
You know.
David Hamilton. David Hamilton is such a person. Millie Tom is such a person who's a casting director, and so many casting directors I've met here. They're lovely, and so many great agents, man. Like that push for you and
Mm-hmm.
every day. But I know that there is that whole thing of, oh, yeah, get rid of the beard, it'll make it easier. Oh, like even if they're gonna take a brown person, like it should be a lighter tone brown person, and not like, and that happens with African Americans all the time as well, unfortunately, is that, yeah, like, if he's gonna be a lead, then he should look a little like he's mixed or maybe more Latin rather than South Asian,
Yeah.
you know? And we've done this to ourselves as well, is that if anybody tells us, I know we're all guilty of this, so don't you all look at me like that. We're all guilty of this, is that whenever we go somewhere abroad, or even whether you're in Canada and someone tells you, man, like, you don't, uh, you don't really look like a Pakistani, you could be like Italian. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Arrivederci. Foreign, like, you'll be like, oh, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
है ना? आपको भी कोई कहता है कि आप, oh, you look Brazilian, you don't look
Of
like you're
course, I
from.
get it all the time. I get it all the time.
होता है ना, ये बिल्कुल होता है यार. And it's sad कि हम क्यों भाई नहीं यार. Yes, thank you. I accept the compliment, but yeah, I'm sexy. I'm from India. I'm sexy. I'm from Pakistan. Yeah, man, that should be that's sexy too.
Yeah.
And Bollywood accepts it in such a big way. Pakistani TV series and now films are also now accepted worldwide in such a big way. And we have beautiful people
Mm-hmm.
from our country too that are representing, and they are finally making inroads now, which is going to make it better for so that people like Aziz and Mindy Kaling and Kumail Nanjiani and Riz Ahmed and you know, um, there's so many great
Mm-hmm.
South Asian artists that are contemporary artists that are now making a difference. And of course, people like Deepa have always paved the way.
Yeah.
Miran Air, like um, it will always be a struggle, but slowly and steadily it is changing. But I think those big executives and the big producers need to change their mindset now because it's got to go. It doesn't like it's okay if unless it's a role specific thing, it's okay. You have if the French accent is so sexy, Asian accents can be sexy, Indian accents can be sexy, Pakistani accents can be sexy. Why not, man? In real life, you have that. By the way, you have so many people like um, you know that are with. Let's say like you have a partner that's white. A lot of people will tell the other person that, oh, I love your accent, man. It's so nice. It's so interesting. It's so nice to hear. Like, if people can say that, why do the executives not get it in their head that, okay, you know what, other people can be accepted as,
Mhm.
leading person just because they don't look like your idea of what, why are you afraid of people that don't look like you? That's the whole issue. And that we're still, I feel everybody's still kind of facing that. Hi, Hina, kaisi hain aap? How are you? That's a big issue. And I think we're all going to face that for a while. Slowly and steadily, it is changing. Um, Slowly and steady. And I think that hopefully we will be the change. Basically, I'm hoping that your movies are going to cast, uh, you know, amazing people of color and change the game.
Of course, that's the goal. Like that's the goal.
And that's the goal.
And not just people of color, just people. Like
Just people,
everybody.
and as you grow, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you grow, in the field and you see more things and you meet people. Hi, Abdullah. How are you doing, buddy? As you grow, you realize that art should have no boundaries.
Hmm.
And थोड़ा धचका लगता है आपको. You feel that Ishan, foreign, always ready to get a job. Listen, Ishan, take it easy, buddy. Okay, wait for it, huh?
We're talking about the
But yeah,
future, Ishan. Future.
future, huh? And take it easy. So yeah, but that's the big thing. I feel that while creating art, there should never be um, boundaries.
Hmm.
And I know I'm still an idealist after all these years. I still am. I know you are. I know a lot of people out there still are. Um, you know, and you should be. But you do also be ready for a stark realization when you get into the field and when you get there and when you get to the higher up roles and the bigger roles, you will face a lot of that. I still face a lot of it. I know a lot of uh, artists around the world still face that bit of stereotyping and that bit of um, you know like
Yeah.
how many followers do you have, or is he already a star so then we can hire him, or um, does he look too brown,
Mm.
or can he still play a leading man in the white film? Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you're gonna face that. You're gonna face that if you're in the West, and it's okay. You gotta change it. You gotta be confident, and you gotta put yourself out there and say, "Hey, man, um, once you go brown, you don't frown."
Okay.
That's
That's
my.
definitely the
That's
first time
my.
I've heard that one. But I think a huge thing of what you've said is it's okay. It's something that you've said not only to me in the past, but even in this conversation that it's okay to be okay. And I think that
Yeah.
takes us in a direction which I think is a very important direction to go in, especially right now, is the idea of it's okay to be okay, which comes to mental health. um, you know, uh, Starting out, being in the industry, which obviously is very uncertain with or without a pandemic, as you said. Um, Mental health, I'm sure, has played like a huge role, like being established in a country, coming here, starting over, dealing with all these things, and whether it's selling stickies at square one or being told by people that this is something you may not be able to do, why don't you just become a cab driver or into real estate. Well, what would you say, like what is this entire experience and journey that you've had so far had as an impact on
And
your mental health?
a lot of jobs can be What's this? Sorry, there's like a
There's a question. Don't you find if they find one person of color, then they just pause there? Like, here we're doing our bit and don't need to look for fresh talent. It's like a checkbox that's been ticked.
yeah. I feel that that is a thing, and that quota system needs to change. That you can't just have a token brown guy, um, And I think shows are sort of changing that, right? Like Silicon Valley, Kumail Nanjiani had a big enough role to not just be the token guy. I think even in Big Bang Theory, Raj Kutrapali, Kunal Nair was as big an actor as all the others.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's slowly, steadily changing. I mean, they're all coming as leads in their own series, in their own film, because they're creating, and that's going to change. You know, when that's going to change is that's going to change if people like Maithili and people like upcoming filmmakers and people like myself and people like um, any creative South Asian people or people of color that start creating more on their own terms and getting those things approved and fighting that fight and getting through. It's going to be tough, but we all have to. That's what they did. That's why I appreciate all the. I was appreciating all the South Asian creators right now is for this reason. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyida, Jami, kaise hain aap? Yeah, that's the thing. I think the more you create, the more that the more power we're gonna have. Like the more the big wigs in the things are gonna be like, oh, okay, we have to accept this because it's from this creator, and they'll forget the fact that it's just there's no token brown thing. It is like it's a fully South Asian cast film, or South Asian people are the lead in this film. And that's gonna happen with more creation of work. Coming back to Maithili's question, Assalamu alaikum everybody. How are you guys? Hello. Um, yeah, most professions, and I think that these days as well, I feel life is not just pandemic stuff. I'm going to talk about. I'm talking about even minus the pandemic. I feel social media and all these things have made it kind of good in a way. You get to be in touch and you get to see people and you get to sometimes get inspirational things, but it also breeds a lot of negativity at times. There's lots of internet trolls that are always looking to pull you down. There's lots of, and I think more than that, we always feel that in that 5 minutes of fame that we can do better. Or, oh, look at that person. He got a Porsche. Oh, look at they're on vacation in that. Oh my God, I wish I was there, man. Like there's always this wishing and like wanting what you can't have, or sort of feeling inadequate. Because look, everybody's Instagram and Facebook and all is their best show reel, highlight reel of their life. Like they're putting their best foot forward. So don't feel, I think if there's anything, any advice I can give is that, you know, don't feel like you have to aspire to, you know, those strange standards, or like be fit in a certain way, or like have that speedboat and living your best life. And like, if you've just given birth, then you have to like have like a six pack and like a JLo bum in like the next, 2 days. Like, that's not cool, man. And that's become kind of the culture, right? And everybody's attention spans have also become so minimal, and there's so much exposure. We're always on our phones, we're always looking at things, and we're always like trying to aspire to things sometimes that are unreachable, or that we don't need to reach for them anyway. Like, just live your life, enjoy yourself. Are you doing your best? That's good enough, you know? And you need to know, I think everybody needs to know that your best is good enough. Don't feel judged. Don't feel like you need to be that fitness level, or that money level, or that status level, or that English level, or that Urdu level, or that Hindi level, or कि यार मैं ये एक TikTok बनाऊंगा और मैं star बन जाऊंगा. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. There's a lot of hard work involved, and I feel that now people's mental health, especially during the pandemic, and I feel that already before, were taking a beating. More and more people were wanting to seek help, and therapists are making a lot of money. Just saying. But it's a good time to become a therapist. Forget about being an actor. Just saying. But I do think uh, it's it is so important to feel if you need to get help, that stigma should be gone now. Let's say we should all put it out there. I think all the contemporary generation, all the people that are out there. Hi everyone. Hi. So, क्या हाल है? You should say कि अच्छा भाई, okay, stigma nahi hona chahiye. There should be no stigma attached to having a mental health issue. Yeah, it's like saying कि यार, I want to run this marathon, but my one leg doesn't work. It's as straight up as that. But if you have a mental health issue, it's a real issue. Yeah, stop saying कि you know क्या ऐसे ही कहने वाली बातें यार छोड़ो. Forget about it. Like it's okay. If you need to seek help, please do. There's no stigma. It's like going to the doctor for anything else, man. If you have a broken leg, you go to the doctor and you get a cast. You know. Um, thank you. That's very sweet of you, man. That's thank you. I don't know. ये लक की बात थी शायद. इसको तो मेरे काबू में तो कुछ नहीं है भाई. Um, but yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I can say is that. And lately, something that weighed in really, and I know a lot of people are thinking about it as well. And let's address it. Let's talk about it. Is Sushant?
Mm-hmm.
Someone like Sushant Singh. Um, all of us feel that way a lot of times, uh, and it's okay to feel a little strange and a little strange. And unfortunately, this is also a truth that I'm going to put out there that a lot of other industries have pressure and all these kind of things. Yes, they do. But this industry, the media industry, the reason why I keep saying it is super tough, and you need to have a really thick shell, and you need to be mentally strong, and your mental game needs to be very uh, acute and on point, is because you get rejections on everyday basis, uh, and you are genuinely being judged on your talent, on your looks, on on now because of social media, on even your everyday life.
Yeah.
How cool is he? How swag is he? What style does he have? Is he a good father? Is he a good mother?
On
What
pure existence. Yeah.
on full existence, like on everything of your existence is being judged. So, and in our industry, unfortunately, there's a lot of judgment, whether you like it or not. The audience is judging you. The people that are hiring you are judging you. If you're a creator, you also have to judge कि अच्छा ये fit होगा या नहीं होगा इस चीज में, film hit होगी नहीं होगी. It's all, unfortunately, this whole vicious mess of judgment. And yes, there is a lot of bullying that happens as well. And if you are, uh, you know, depressed or have mental health issues, then you must take time off and don't let it take your life. You must take that time off, seek the help that you require, and remember that life is more important than something you do, because if there's no life, there's no art. You know what I mean? Like like Sushant was such a bright star, such a lovely person from what I hear. He was eloquent. He was, you know, sharp, um, and he's a damn good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some opportunities got taken away from him, but unfortunately, as an artist, a lot of opportunities do get taken away. There's a lot of roles that I know that I almost made it for, but didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that's gonna happen. You know, so you have to be strong, and unfortunately, Allah ka shukr hai, I don't have any mental health issues. But that being said, that doesn't mean I don't feel depressed or low or things like that. That's normal. That's all right. It's okay to feel. There were some times, and yeah, I've felt really angry and depressed about so many um, issues, so many rejections before, and so many starting off. Like I told you, I was crying on my way back from that job that in Square One, where I was just like, yeah, what am I doing? You know, there's a low point in your life, man, where you're not the king of your castle. You're not feeling any power. You're not doing what you love. You're not doing anything, and that's tough. It's heartbreaking, but you just have to tell yourself, I was born to do this. I will do this. And TK, I will make it my own way if I have to, but I will create and I will do this. But you have to power through. And if you need help, if you have mental health issues, go for it, यार. कोई बुरी बात नहीं है. And talk about it openly. कोई मसला नहीं भाई. Like आपने थेरेपिस्ट को देखना है, बिल्कुल देखें. कोई इसमें क्या बुरी बात है यार. डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो ना, मेंटल हेल्थ के लिए थेरेपिस्ट के पास जाओ. I want Baghi, Amina. Yeah, here you want? It's a. I got this when I was like maybe 19, 20. It's been a while. Anyway,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I
ये
think
बात है.
what you're saying, and especially given, you've mentioned it, the relevance right now
Hey,
with
buddy.
all the conversation about um, Sushant, I think it's also important, I think, for everybody out there who's listening to acknowledge that the people that you see on screen, like, you don't know them, right? Like, you don't know them personally, you don't know their lives. So at a point like this, when it's such a tough situation, to not leave things to assumption, like you don't know, right? So just acknowledge that there was life lost, and and find your own way of is that the hero?
Hey,
uh
hey, what happened? What happened? Yeah, it's okay. Hi, Jabi. Hi, Jabi. This is it, guys.
the true star has now
This
come.
is the real star.
Yeah,
I'm just you know.
you're just
I'm
the
just a
first.
guy. I'm just the guy that's nurturing the real stars. I'm just the dad now. You know. Hey, Dabi. Hey, come here. Yeah. Um. So here's the ball. Here, go ahead. You know. So yes. This is it. I mean that I know a lot of people are saying that the industry killed Sushant. And yes, there is bullying. It is terrible, and it exists world over. Unfortunately, बहुत बुरी बात है. It's a terrible, terrible thing that we have. Hey, take this, Baba, and go. Hmm. Yeah, Dad upstairs. Go get him. Go get Dad. Go. Yeah, yeah, and it is a terrible thing. Um, but unfortunately, one big thing that we have to also address is the fact that Sushant's mental illness killed him as well. Like that's the worst part. That you have to unfortunately be really strong-willed and thick-skinned in this business. Because there's going to be people that are going to try to tear you down. There's going to be people that are going to be um, judging you constantly. There's going to be people that are you're going to get bullied sometimes as well. And always lobbies. There's always nepotism. There's always the kind of thing. Yes, yes. Let me get a ball for this guy. Hold on. Ah, where's the ball? Oh, here's the ball.
And a quick moment to tell everybody out here who's messaging me your questions. Please put in your questions onto the live so we can see them here, and don't WhatsApp me or etc. Because I can't open it right now.
Jenny, how do you feel about mental health, Papi? You think it's important?
Yep.
Yes.
My sentiment.
Take that as a yes. So, come, you go. Stay with your die, and I'm coming up. Take the ball. Take the ball. Go see die. I'm coming. Uh,
Like, we
yeah.
were asking you about your film school experience and how that's impacted you.
How you doing? But I mean, that's something that was really a beautiful experience for me because I've always loved film. Hi, Babu. I'll see you in a few minutes, Gage. Okay? Hold on. Huh. I think that film school is a must for every creative person that wants to go into film because the truth is that I had a lot of experience before that. I grew up in like a film school. I had gone to uh, National Academy of Performing Arts as well, and I'd had so much experience before that as well. But whether you have experience or you don't, going to an institution to learn something specially that you love, uh, there's nothing but good that comes out of that. That I promise you. Because no matter what, you'll come out with connections. With sometimes your teachers that are practically working in the industry will also help you. Uh, Plus, you'll make creative connections with creative individuals that you'll feel good about, and you will also be able to um, navigate with those people and maybe create something in the future. Plus, um, it really is a great feeling to know you're really good at something. And I always wanted to go to film school, and like I graduated with three distinctions from Toronto Film School in cinematography, direction, and film history. And it just gave me what I needed when I moved here. And I moved here, started from scratch. It just gave me something to look forward to. That, oh, you know what? I've always loved movies, and now this is completely brought it to a full circle for me. That, oh, it's stamped on a certificate that this guy is a certified film lover and a filmmaker. So it's kind of nice to have that, and it's kind of nice to have a place, a creative place where I was recently just interviewed by Toronto Film School as being one of the top graduates and thing, So it's called Toronto Film School, TFS, and that felt really good. I have to say, like I did not know what that would feel like,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, and I might go back to even teach a class on acting. So
Nice.
you know, um, let's see. So that's kind of lovely. So I mean, it's good to have that, and I'm still in touch with a lot of the people. A lot of the teachers there were my mentors still, and I've created some great things with some of my fellow students there. So yeah, I highly do recommend going to film school and acting school. Uh, that's what I did here, and that really helped me, and maybe it'll help you.
Okay, there are a bunch of
Hi,
great things
Samia.
on
There was
that.
something. There was a long message about.
Okay, so first, hi Maitri, as a student in TISB. TISB is my boarding school where I did high school in Bangalore. Did you face any challenges with mental health or know anyone
Oh,
who
nice.
did? Um, I would say for me personally, I did not. I'm sure that I had um, different like experiences with mental health at that time, but I myself did not really acknowledge it. I came to more acceptance and acknowledgement of it later once I moved to Toronto and as I like grew older. Um, but yes, I feel I'm sure that yes, if off the top of my head, I can think of people who did mention things to me, which I would not want to put their stories out on a public forum. But I feel like being in a boarding school, it's a totally different navigation process of being alone and trying to handle life in that sense. So, but I feel like there were a lot of people like you, Miss Namu, who's asked this question, who supported us. So I'm very grateful for that. So thank you for everything that you did. Then we have Sohaila who said, artists are by nature sensitive souls. He seemed to be seeking a lot of answers from the universe, yet he himself was in an environment that was very much inward. It was a lethal combination. I'm agreeing that I think this person Sohela is talking about Sushant, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
From my side, I have definitely known. Hi everyone. Hi guys. How you doing? Thank you, Sana. And hi Fab. How you doing? Um, I am well, Sana. Thank you. And hi, hi, Viza. क्या हाल है? Um, Hello, Anas. Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Shukriya. Dhanyavad. Um, yeah, I think I have had, I have had, I personally have not suffered a mental health issue, but I have had friends and some very close friends I grew up with give their life. Like one buddy of mine, unfortunately, uh, you know, yeah, had to succumb to his mental health issue, and we didn't know. And since then,
sorry to hear that.
and this was a couple of years ago now, about 6, 7 years ago, and since then I've made sure to always know uh, around your loved ones, around your friends, be sure to ask them
Mhm.
how they're doing, and because those things matter, and especially during this pandemic time. Make sure that you people you care about and things, ask them how they are on a regular basis because that makes a difference, man. And I know that in the last little while for our old buddy, we didn't know. So everybody gets involved in their own lives, and we didn't live in the same city. So हमने नहीं पूछा. We didn't ask him, and then we heard the news, and we were like, man, I wish we had. You think of a million things that you wish you were there for that person. So try to. I think the best thing you can do is try to be there for your loved ones and your friends. And, you know,
Yeah.
you ask them how they are. You're not a professional, so you can't change.
Couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, couldn't agree with
है ना? I mean, जरूरी है यार.
you. Just
Matthew,
letting
how are
know
you,
that
यार?
it's
You
something.
okay?
No, as a person who has mental health things, and I can tell you what a huge support it is to just know that there is somebody there who
आप
just
कैसी हैं,
cares
Matthew?
for you,
आप ठीक हैं?
like you, Ali.
You're
Who's
okay?
there. Yeah.
Okay,
Shukr.
Matthew's okay, guys. That's good to know.
For the moment, yes.
आप
Okay,
तो ठीक हैं, बिल्कुल मुझे पता है, बिल्कुल ठीक है.
yeah.
आपसे कोई इशू
Moving
नहीं
on
है.
to the next, which a long
Um,
thing that you mentioned is actually from my mom. Says, Ali, you are very right that you are as good as your talent and as good as your last work in creative fields.
that's from my mom. Oh, hi, Auntie. How are you? Assalamualaikum.
However, do you think becoming good to great or becoming a big name involves more than just talent and involves a major break, lucky streak, or even a godfather? If so, how does one cultivate a career towards that probability?
Very good question, Auntie. Very good question. Um, First of all, I hope you're feeling well, and um, the pandemic is treating you all right, and you're safe. But uske alawa, I think it's a very, it's a very strange thing that strange profession that we're in, Auntie, and everybody out there listening. I mean, you all know it's a very strange thing, but I am an idealist and I am a hopeful person. I have always believed that one can make it on pure talent and without nepotism, and you can make it without having a godfather in the industry. Because at the end of the day, your talent will speak for itself. But unfortunately, um, these days, I think a big thing that we have to be wary of is that not make actors or not create these stars without them being talented. I think that's a big issue. Is that social media and a lot of producers and a lot of uh, you know commercial ad makers and people have catapulted these people into it's like an abuse of power. It's like, oh, did they have did they have a lot of followers? उसके million followers है, actor बना दो, he'll इस ड्रामे में डाल दो, ड्रामा will become a hit, या इस मूवी में डाल दो, मूवी हिट हो जाएगी, which is not the case, which is not the case at all, by the way. Like, there could be people with, you look at, in fact, if you look at some people and you have their amazing, whether they be in any part of the world, and they may have an amazing following, right? And then you see them out in the street with people, and you'll be like, people will be like, "Ye kaun hai? Who's this person?" You know, or you'll see them in a movie and you'll be like, "Man, this person is a terrible actor. Like, this movie is bad," and that movie will not make money because of that person's followers or that person's godfather. That movie will eventually do well because people enjoyed it, or it's a talent thing. So I mean, yes, I will say this, that due to nepotism and due to godfathers and in the industry and that kind of culture, people get a lot more chances. The people that don't have talent or that don't have uh, the drive or what it takes necessarily, let's say, or are even lazy in the industry, they get a lot more chances due to this factor. But at the end of the day, you are as good as your talent, because, like I said, lambi race ka ghoda hona chahiye. You have to be a marathon runner, not just a 100-meter dash. Because yes, those people can be a flash in the pan, with a lot of followers, a lot of things. Sure, they may be successful for a little while, but for the long run, you need to have an established talent base and a work ethic and a drive to move forward, because people will enjoy that and enjoy your work and see that at the end of the day. Nobody's going to just be like, oh, this person's got no charisma, but because they have like, the audience is not going to see that. "Kid, this person has a godfather, I must watch his movie." No. So the audience is audience ko halka na le. That's why I give a lot of credit to all the fans out there. You guys are the real deciding factor, and that's the truth. You know, that's why this whole movement, which is what I love about this whole movement about Shashant, is that the fans are speaking up, that we loved him. And so many fans are saying that what happened to him is wrong, and we shouldn't have this bullying. And I hope Shashant's death is not in vain, and so many other artists' death in this case is not in vain, because the fans are speaking up and saying that, you know what, man, it's about talent, and it's not about nepotism, and it's not about godfathers, because this bullying has got stopped, because it's about what the audience enjoys. Audience नहीं देखेगी कि आपका godfather है कि नहीं है, you know, and that's the thing. So I'm hoping that in the long run, people start to realize, but it'll be slow and steady. I mean, it's so entrenched, and yes, people, they may try to make people superstars, but unless they don't have talent, they're not gonna remain stars or be superstars for long. There's a reason why there's actors that we love for so many years that are still uh, going and that are still our favorites, is because they're talented and they come up with good work and creative things that still you enjoy. So yeah.
Speaking of great,
आंटी ने कह दिया. Thank you, आंटी. आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर है, to say. Thank you. I hope so. I hope to be a lambi days ka ghoda. I'm training hard.
inshallah, inshallah. Is there unfavorable favoritism in Pakistan industry? In here, there's lobby of Khan, Kapoor, and Johars. I think
Anas,
trying to compare Bollywood and the Pakistan film industry.
there is obviously lobbies there as well. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, but I feel that because our film industry was gone for such a long time, I feel that the TV industry got saved from that a little bit. I mean, it still exists. Hi, Agam. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, I feel that because the TV industry and the TV industry was originally made up of all true artists and people that were doing it not for the money and things like that, starting from the PTV days. I feel that that became a little bit lesser, and the idea of it's pretty simple that the audience is speaking, and you're getting those, especially with now with the drama going on YouTube and all this kind of stuff. You can see the comments below, and you can see the amount of likes it has. You can see the amount of people that are viewing it. You can see what people are talking about that particular actor or whatever. And you can see that a lot of people will be calling out the fact that, oh, this guy is just a pachi, or just a, he's just there because he has this many followers, or he's there because he's a little fairer than the other brown guys. That's also because we're so obsessed with being fair and stuff because of our colonial, like, my bap, because of our British colonization. I think that's a big thing we also need to get rid of. We need to get rid of this fair and lovely idea. Dark and dusky is beautiful as well, man. There's a reason why it's tall, dark, and handsome, or is dark and dusky beautiful. There's no issues in that. We need to get over that as well. And I think that's I think with that, a bigger problem in the Pakistani industry is that. I think, like, nepotism is there, but again, it's on a lesser scale. Um, Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, my headphones conked it. But yeah, I feel that definitely nepotism exists, but in Bollywood it exists on a much higher level. Because in the Bollywood, especially, there's so much more money at stake. I think that for them, they did do that. But I will say this: at the end of the day, talent will make it through, and we have to keep pushing for that. And I think the more and more you as the fans and the audience speak up about it, like right now, I think this Sushant thing is going to be at least a little bit of a game changer and give people a bit of a wake up call, like the Me Too movement did for women. I think this no bullying and no nepotism thing will star kids, and even the people that you have enjoyed and that have had long careers are people that are actually good actors as well. You know what I mean? You have to give them that. You can't take that away. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think in the long run, I hope that does change.
Yes. But speaking of the Pakistani film industry, like after you established yourself here, and you're constantly growing and you're doing such amazing projects, how is it returning to the industry back in Pakistan after taking that gap? Was there judgment? Were you accepted easily? What was it like?
It was a bit strange at first because like I said, sometimes the industry can be fickle. For a while, I'd done so much work that I was still remembered, luckily, and I still had enough of a fan base. And so, thank you to you guys for keeping me keeping me relevant. But besides that, I think I did face a bit of a jhatka because I had missed a lot of the TV boom because I was here in Canada trying to build myself. I had missed a lot of the television channels that exploded. There was a lot more money in the industry, a lot more competition, a lot more people were becoming actors and becoming coming into the profession, which was great. But also, a lot of the industry had changed in the sense that it become a lot about the money and a lot about ratings and this and that and followers and all that kind of shebang. And I was like, I know a lot of people that would have run after me before, but now like not even returning my messages and not even returning my calls. But I took it. I didn't let that get to me. I said, you know what? I'm gonna work so hard here that it's gonna be tough for them to resist me wanting to do something back home. And that is kind of what I did. And Jackson Heights was such a play that brought me back. It wasn't supposed to be a comeback, really. It was a play that I loved and I really wanted to do. And Marine Jabbar is a director I really respect, and she's a good friend, and she's a superb human and a lovely, lovely director. I think she's one of the best we have. And it was a play that was being shot in New York, which is close by to me anyway. And I was like, it's a good tester to see this hybrid project that's being shot in Pakistan and New York. And
let's see how it does. And luckily, it did really well, and it aired in on Z many times as well, on ZTV and Z Zindagi in India as well, and then there's got a lot of YouTube stuff, and it's been re-aired many times afterwards. Um, oh, thank you. Yeah, that's Marine's magic, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mashallah. Um, yeah, so I think at the end of the day, uh, it was kind of first because I was in the middle there before doing Jackson Heights. I know there's a lot of uh, messages I didn't get back, or things that which kind of hurt me a little bit. Oh, you know me for so many years, like now you're not going to return my call. I'm not out of sight, out of mind. But that being said, you have to believe in your work, and Jackson brought me back quite seamlessly, and um, yeah, I still don't have an agent or a manager in Pakistan. People hire me because they know me for my work, and the best part about it, was that a lot of people, because I'd started up after a while and started with this media boom, and the industry was kind of new, and a lot of new producers, new directors, and new talent, and this whole social media thing was right. So a lot of younger fans were watching stuff. Before, the fans were a little older, and maybe their kids watched it a bit and stuff, but now there's a whole new fan base. What's lovely is that a lot of people didn't know whose son I was. So to me, that was a triumph. Is that when I came back and I started work back to Pakistan as well, a lot of people just knew me for me, and that to me is one of the best, greatest achievements that I've ever. Is that to actually have that coming out of the shadow of my parents in a true way. That a lot of people were like, when I posted like I think my parents like anniversary picture on Instagram, they're like, "Oh, I'm Indian," like that, and that was cool. I was like, "Wow, I've been working back now for a couple of years, and still people didn't know." So that's cool, man. That's like true. That I was like, all right, at least talent is talking, which is good. Work is speaking for itself in many ways. So that was something that feels good. And yeah, I think that uh, it is tough still because I did miss that boom in the middle. And I know a lot of people ask me that, oh, Ali, if you had been here, like, you would have just been like the only, like actor that we loved. I was like, look, man, I'm happy with where my career is, and I'm happy with what I'm doing in Pakistan. Yeah, and I know I've missed out on a certain amount of things, but the experience I've had and the love and respect I gained from going to film school, and having the experience working in a different industry, and gaining that international experience, there's nothing like it, because it just makes me respect what we do and love it so much more. And I remember some young co-stars, they were like, listen, like, why do you love it so much, man? Relax. Like, I may uh, do this for the long run, or I may not. I may want to just start my own business and become a social media entrepreneur. And I was like, cool, that's good for you, man. But I'll tell you why I love this business so much is because you gain respect for it when you see the people's respect and love for you. And then when you're standing outside a studio with a line of 3,000 trained, beautiful professionals, and you beat them out to get a role, you have beaten them in an audition, fair and square, to get that role. You realize that, man, this is really a true labor of love. And it's something that you should do it if you love it. Otherwise, please don't do it. you know, that's what.
Yeah, and I think this is a moment to shout out to everybody who watches the work that we make and everything that we create. We are who we are at the end of the day because of you and your love and support. And
Yeah, man. There's no.
where we as creators are very grateful for that always. Um, but now that like you have this sense of relevance, like both here and in Pakistan, do you feel like that also puts a little bit more pressure of accountability for the work that you do, whether it's the roles or the subjects that you tackle, and um, How do you feel about that? Like,
So as time goes by, yeah, I mean, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, as they said in Spider-Man. But uh,
of course, of course.
of course, but no, it's it's a double-edged sword. It's yes, you have to still create, and you have to still be relevant, and you have to still entertain, and you have to do commercial products as well. I don't believe in just anti-commercialism. I think that commercial films should also be done, and मजा भी आना चाहिए, and मस्ती भी होनी चाहिए industry में, बिल्कुल होना चाहिए. लेकिन yeah, I think as you grow, you do have a sense of responsibility, and I always do try to choose my projects which have a message or some kind of hidden like um, gem in there that that people will understand. Or like my project like Baghi, we actually teamed up and actually got to change people's views on Kandil Baloch, and showing people that everybody has a journey, and we actually uh, helped in changing legislation in the constitution on honor killing because of plays like Baghi and plays like Udari. Yeah, so I think that yes, I think that you should. I don't think that should be your only goal. I don't think it should be your only goal to be preachy or to be everything with a message. But yes, you must make sure that you have a platform. This is my own personal view. It's not for everybody. It's not necessarily that everybody has to, okay, I'm holding everybody to these standards or whatever it is. It's. I think though generally that when you have a platform and you know you have worked hard to get somewhere, and you have people that do listen to you, and we do make an impact in people's lives, and you meet a lot of fans that are like, sir, wo aapka wo us performance that changed my life, or changed my view on being a husband, or changed my view on being a brother, or changed my view on just viewing women in a certain way. Or but acha lagta hai. It's a beautiful thing. I love that. And then national stuff, some people are like, man, Ali bhai, it's so good you're representing us, and you're an ambassador for Pakistan, and you're there and doing a thing, and that feels beautiful. Yeah, it's great. And there's a certain boundary that um, you know with that love you receive from the fans. There is a certain thing that you become part of their family. You're in their homes. They're watching you like on an everyday basis, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a special thing, and I feel that once you've reached a certain platform, you must try to educate. You must try to give a good message. You must try to be relevant, talk about topics that make a difference, and also answer the questions. Also, in some ways, try to show that it's not just about being on TV or being in film. It's about like trying to enjoy the journey and actually be a decent human along the way. That's what I want to show, or I want to put out there, and I hope that's the case for me.
So my last question to you, as we try to tie everything up that we've talked about, is yes. So our world of film, media, TV, all of it is this fantasy world, right? That everybody has this glam idea about, and we ourselves know, like it's a fantasy world because we live through so many different stories as we create. And as an actor, you have to insert yourself into different characters. So how do you stay real? How do you stay true to who you are in the process of all of it, and not lose yourself within this?
Like I said, always try to surround yourself. I had said it before earlier in the interview. Always try to surround yourself with good people, like your old friends, your family, and listen to them. Trust me. Don't just be like, I'm above them now. I'm tired. You have to listen to them, because that's what's going to keep you humble. And what I said before was not just a joke. It's true that's at home. I'm changing diapers, and cleaning and doing stuff, and there's like my friends who I've known for years that still treat me the same and still will joke with me like, yeah, chal chal, ठीक है, क्या कर लिया तुमने, क्या हो गया, and and my wife who keeps it real for me every day and like doesn't worship me or doesn't idolize him. Wow, like so amazing what you're doing. It's nice to just be real and be yourself. And also personally for me, uh, I love life. I love experiences, and I feel that your experiences are what make you a better performer. So if you're not going to live the experiences as yourself and gain that and absorb it, you have to be cognizant enough. You have to be alive enough to know, okay, this experience, I will hold on to this. This will be lovely and it will not only add to my life journey, but it will add to my artistic journey somehow. Yes.
How right
Hey,
you are, Ishan. How
kid,
right.
okay. I promised you I'd be punctual, and I was, man. You don't have to like message me often.
Sure.
No, but the truth is that's what it is, right? Like for example, um, at the end of the day, it's the relationships that you create with your colleagues, with your friends, with your family, and the experiences that you have in life are what makes you. It's not the money, it's not the power, it's not the star. Um, it's not your star power. It's actually your own personality and your own mental growth that will add to your real growth on screen. That's my own view. Again, it's not anything that is a tried and tested thing. It's just a thing, because I feel that sometimes yes, you do get lost in a character, and it's a little tough to break out. It's a little tough to your family does suffer a bit, because you're kind of lost for that little bit. But I always make sure that I quickly try to snap out of it. I don't want to be fully method all the time, like, I want to be that guy because I feel that's a little unfair. It's a bit selfish at times to your family. I don't want to do that. So I don't want to. I want to come home and I want to be there for my kids. I want to be there for my wife. I want to be there for my friends, my family. I don't want to be. I don't want to disappear and be like, oh, they'll be fine. That's not me. Um, so yeah, to me, I think it matters a lot that you must make sure and be very cognizant. Uh, and if you guys want to actually do that, then there's ways to do it. Always put mental markers in your head to improve your memory, and always make sure to tell yourself, okay, I want to remember this moment or remember this thing. Don't just be like, oh, acha, haan, theek hai, and just move on and make a memory, make a mark of it in your head, so that it's cognizant, so okay, yeah, this moment was very pivotal, or I don't want to be like that, because I know there's moments in my life where I know, okay, oh, okay, I don't want to do that. That's wrong, Kazmi. Make a note. That's not what you should be like, and that's important. Setting alarms is important. Um, Also, letting your ADs not get too free with you is also important. Uh, no, jokes apart. Like, I mean, that's what it is, right? Like the main thing is you have to try to be um, cognizant and make sure, yeah, bas zindagi ji nahi rahe. You have to make sure that you are enjoying it, making a note of it, and making the most of it.
Okay. So I feel like we started with family, we've ended this with family. Yeah. If you have any last thoughts for people who are actors who are starting out right now, anybody in the creative industry starting out right now, do you have any last few thoughts for them?
Well, I think at the end of the day, just remember that believe in yourself, you were born to do this. If you were, you'll know it. Um, and never think you're above anyone else. Never lose the true reason why you started this in the first place and the true drive for it. And you'll stay real. That's the best thing that you can be. Be real. Always know why you did this in the first place. Always know that, don't forget the love of it. You know, the destination will be achieved when it will be, but you have to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
And I want to wish everybody a happy Father's Day to all the Supermen
Mm-hmm.
out there. Happy Father's Day. Keep doing what you do. And I hope that everybody comes out of this pandemic um, without any major issues and not going too cuckoo from being indoors for so long. And be kinder, be wiser, uh, be stronger, and let's be good to each other and to Mother Nature. So, love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Lovely. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful to everybody who's been on this journey with us today on One, and I'm grateful for you, Ali, as a friend, as a colleague, and
Thank you.
as somebody who agreed to do this the moment I picked up the phone and said, Ali, do this. So thank you very much for taking out your time, and happy Father's Day to you and everybody else, and sending good vibes to all of you across the world during this tough time.
Yeah.
Stay
Lots
positive,
out
stay
there.
blessed.
Stay safe.
Yes.
Love you guys. See you, Metli.